So, out on a little walk here this morning, me and Samson. He loves the snow. Don't you, buddy? Huh? Yeah, he loves the snow. Loves it. Can't get enough of it. Can't get enough of it. Anyway, on this little walk here this morning, I was thinking, as often I do, and I got to thinking about the seasons and how obviously right now we happen to be in a winter season, and it's been really cold here where I'm at the last few weeks, like single digits cold, even below zero in the evenings, on multiple occasions. So for many people that sucks. People hate winter. I'm not one of them. I don't particularly like it after a certain point. It does get old, but I don't mind it. I have a St. Bernard. We love the snow. But the point is that it got me thinking about these seasons, because immediately, when you start getting to that point after a long winter, you just cannot wait for spring. It's all you're thinking about is spring coming, right? That's how we get through these nasty winters. Just try and look ahead to spring, right? And hopefully here in our case, the groundhog yesterday saw his shadow, so we only got 6 more weeks. But anyway, that's a joke. I don't believe that, just to be clear. What's going to happen is going to happen, regardless of shadows, okay? But the point that I wanted to make here this morning is, as I was thinking about this, I realized how life matches up to these seasons in a lot of ways. We go through these seasons in life as well. And I think that if we can just stop for a minute and really ponder on that thought can help you through your current season, because that's what we do to get through these seasons, right? We focus on spring. And so as we focus on spring and we think about that warmer weather to come, it starts to relieve some of the stress of the winter season that we're currently in. And so I think we need to do the same in life. We need to look ahead and realize that, as does in nature, seasons change in life. In nature, we experience sometimes long, cold winters. Likewise, we can experience long, cold winters in life. But then spring comes, so it's down and then up. And then for me, the heat of summer, another down. But then fall comes and it's another up, and then winter and down. And so it's like a roller coaster, and that's very, very relatable, I think, to the seasons of life. And the reason I really got to thinking about this, just to lay my own comparison out for you, hoping that you will then do the same, because it does help to consider these things. As I was thinking about it, and I laid my life next to the seasons that we see in nature and how they operate, I got to thinking, wow, that's crazy. Like, my life almost matches a year perfectly of seasons. And so in my instance, I'm not going to get into it too much here, but, just to lay this out, I lost my mother, my aunt, and my uncle all within 4 months of time. And so that following that was a long, long, cold, dark, dreary winter. And I mean long. Just like in nature, how these seasons, they don't last forever. Well, they don't in life either. Because, following that long winter season, I changed my mindset and I changed my perspective. And on the other side of that, we started up. And I hit my spring by changing my routines and my habits. And I experienced a nice spring, and it went on for a long time. And then, there was another fall there, but when we hit summer, but then we hit the peak of that, and then there's fall. So, after about a year and a half, I was feeling tremendously good considering the winter that I had just come out of. But then, just like in nature, here comes winter again. And that was my back injury. And so back down we go. And this year following that has also been a year of ups and downs. And I just see how it correlates with nature so much. And I think that's powerful. And I think that there's a reason for that. I think there's a reason why we experience these things in nature. I think it's there, whether you believe in a creator or God or the universe or whatever it is that you give that authority to as the creation of all of this. In it, they put lessons. They are built right into the experiences that we go through in this reality. And I think the reason why that they are there is so that we can glean from them valuable lessons for applying to our own life. And so as I considered the winter season and thought about how spring's just right around the corner, I realized that it's the same with life. You know, if you're going through a winter season, just know that it will end eventually and there will be a spring. Now in nature, we don't have much control over that. But in life, we do have some control over that spring that's coming. And only you know what that is. But just know that it will come regardless eventually. It can't stay winter forever. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. And I know I've done a terrible job of portraying it in this video because when I was thinking about it, it just resonated with my spirit and it was like a light bulb went off, which is why I wanted to create this and share it with you because I think that there's a valuable lesson in it. Look at the lessons that are built right in to creation. Open your eyes and open your heart to receive these things that are there. They're clearly there. And when you lay your life next to nature in these seasons, you'll see how likewise it's been like this. So I think that that's what's being shown to us here in this nature. And because of our experiences of going through these seasons constantly, year after year, you know, winter, spring, summer, fall, winter, it's cyclical. And in many ways, that's how it is in life. And so we need to realize that and realize that these long winters that we go through, they're not going to last forever. And just like when we're talking about real winter and you look forward to spring, I think you can do the same in your life. Even if you're in that cold, dark place and it's been a long, long, cold winter, you can rest assured that spring will eventually come. And so that's the main point that I wanted to talk about here today. And like I said, I know I didn't do a very good job portraying it. Sounded real good in my head. Didn't come out as good as what I thought. But I think that the lesson's still there. I think you get what I'm throwing down here. And so hopefully it's helped you because just considering it has helped me. Because like I said, you know, that back injury was my winter and I was in a long winter. But I'm pretty sure when this winter fades, so will that winter for me. I'm going to come out of it into a new spring. It's going to be a new spring and it's going to be a great summer and a great fall. And by the time I get to that fall, that next winter, it's not going to have nothing on me. I'm going to be ready for it. So that's the message. Hopefully I delivered it in a way that you can understand it. Anyway, I'm Brad Casper. Although we're not in the corner today, we are in my other little corner out here in nature on our property. Anyway, that's all I got for today. We're out. I also just wanted to mention that as we consider these seasons and how we discussed that, you know, in nature, following winter comes spring, right? We'll focus in on that one. If we look at nature and the details of it, we can see that following winter, when spring does finally come, there are still, in many cases, the effects of the winter that you just came out of, right? So, you know, following a cold, long winter, you finally hit that spring, right? The season has, in fact, changed. You recognize that it has changed. But there's still things very much related to winter that are still hanging on in this new season of spring, like the cold, right? In the early stages of spring, it's still, at least where I'm at, very cold in the mornings, typically. And that cold is associated with the winter, not the spring, right? Well, just like that, in life, it looks exactly the same, right? Because even though we may have come out of a long winter and we are now in a spring, there can still be effects of that winter, things that are associated with that winter that are still part of this new season that you've entered into. But that's the beauty of it, right? And that's where these lessons are. Because it's almost like it's there so that you don't get too excited about it. I mean, imagine the difference here for a second. You're over winter. It's been long, it's been cold, and you are just sick of it. And you cannot wait for spring to get here. It can't come soon enough. But imagine if when it did, it was just 70 degrees. Boom, one day you go from 20 to 70. And it's that way for the next 2 to 3 months. Well, that's not how life works either, right? Because when you enter into another season in life, there is definitely going to be things that are associated with that winter. They're very much still a part of your spring. Just like that cold, just like that frost, it's still there every morning in the spring to remind you this is the lesson. To remind you that you just came out of a winter, so that you don't forget so easily, because that's what we tend to do. Oh, it's spring now, boom, everything changes, we change. We tend to forget about the lessons that we just were meditating on through a long winter, when all of a sudden now it's great and it's spring. But that's not how it works. And the reason it doesn't work that way is because it's showing us a lesson in our life, because it doesn't work that way in life either. And what does that look like? Well, coming out of a cold, long winter in life, there are still going to be things associated with that winter, just like the cold in the spring. For a lot of people, getting through those cold winters, it's real easy to numb yourself, right? To rely on, these other vices to help you get by. Well, typically you're not just dropping them at the change of the temp either, right? They're still there. But they're there, not part of this season, but as a lesson that we pull from the last one, from that long winter. And so, just like that cold won't last through the entire spring in the mornings, it will eventually fade. So do all those things that are negative that were a part of that long winter that you just went through, they need to also fade. You need to let go of those things. And if you don't, I think your next winter will come a lot sooner than you think. And that means you'll be missing out on the fullness that can be experienced in your spring and in your summer. So we got to let those things at the door when our season changes. We need to be grateful for the change. And we can show our gratitude by leaving all those things behind. So many lessons, huh? So many lessons. He learned one today too. Don't run off. Because then he gets like turned around and loses his sense of direction. And then he's like, you can tell he's in panic mode looking for me. He doesn't know where I'm at for some reason. He's like panicking and anxious and not using his brain to like smell me out, you know. Even a lesson in that. Isn't it amazing? Lessons everywhere. Just need to see them. Before we head back, I just wanted to share something with you quick. Make yourself a sanctuary, a place that you can come to and be in peace away from everything, where you can just think. A lot of times there's just so much clutter in life that we need to create a spot where there is none and where there's just peace and sanity. And for me, this is that spot. I created it for my wife for Mother's Day this past year, and it has served its purpose for sure. So yeah, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate, but just create that space that you can unplug, disconnect, and get away from all the noise.